And we are live on yet another umbraCoffee episode, number 194. We're coming to do 200, Callum.
I know it's actually, I worked this out. It's the
6 weeks.
first week of November, that episode.
Oh,
So I think
nice.
the 6th of November is the 200th episode. We've got to work out something to do, something special to do there.
Maybe we can combine it with my birthday. Nice idea, yeah. Cool. How are we all? How's your week, Callum?
Yeah, you say we're live, but it's more like, oh, we are live. Like, been a crazy week. How about
yeah, I same here. I'm going for a short holiday next week, so it was like today is my last day before the holidays, and as you know, it's like a crazy day as usual.
you? Yeah,
need to plan
you
everything.
basically work so hard on the last day before you go away that you might as well not have a holiday at all, because the holiday is just spent recuperating from that last day, and then you come back to chaos usually as well.
But at least you are mentally prepared for that, so you are completely accepting this fact, and yeah, that's how it is. But yeah, I didn't realize how busy this week was before we've collected the news for today, because we usually are in our own silos and we're just doing our own work, when in the reality there is a lot of everything happening next to it, and that's amazing to be able to collect it and share it with you all here. Yeah, what we can start with, probably with the big countdown, countdown to Umbraco V9 launch.
I mean, is there anything else really in the news this week? It's just this and V9 packages, basically.
Maybe, but that's a lot of things happening. Of course, everyone is counting down. It was we mentioned it last week. It was 2 weeks from the date, but now we are 1 week to the launch. There is a big, beautiful blue button here allowing us to sign up for the event, which will be live streamed on September 28th. And yeah, there's a lot of things happening, of course, around the release. Preparations from the both Umbraco HQ sites, agency sites, freelancer sites. Everyone is literally awaiting that, so that's exciting to have it aligned. And we also had hopefully last or probably last RC released before the final date.
Yeah, cutting it quite close, isn't it? Yeah, RC4, and there's still quite a lot changing here. It's impressive to see how much stuff's changing right up until the very end. But I know as well there was a few people that had some issues potentially with running RC4, where if you've been running the previous release candidates, you're I think maybe you have an older version of Examine in your NuGet cache or something, and people were struggling to boot it. So it's good, but people raised that. Like, it's good to see people are testing it, finding it. I know that Jason on my team yesterday, he got a pull request merged in just before the RC4 went out, and he updated and hit that issue straight away. So people are like kind of raring to go now on the on V9. Was it Wednesday next week that it's out?
Yeah, Wednesday next week. Yep. So, but this is exactly for what RCs are for, right? So we should be all happy that the issues are flagged and spotted, because that's exactly why we are making them, and why team is fixing them, because the final or the stable release will hopefully have the less of them for sure. But still, a lot of people are testing it. You've mentioned a lot of packages being released to support V9 from the beginning, and that means that really a lot of people keeps their hands on the RCs, and that's obviously good for all of us. And yeah, Bjarke just confirmed that it's Tuesday next week, so Tuesday next week, even closer.
Yep.
Speaking about people testing, we've had a really nice summaries shared by many community members, but Carol also did an amazing test, a big test of V9 and what has changed. And I've mentioned it last week that Callum, you probably also remember that this blog post from Perplex team highlighting all of the changes of V8 when it was released, with the combination of how it looked in the V7, and we seem to see something similar here, and a really nice set of resources and just pointers of what we should be aware, what we can expect, how we can work it out, and work around as well some of the things.
This was super helpful, because there's a bit of a series here, I think, on the Umbraco blog of these. Putting Umbraco 9 to the test things, and Carol's one has been a little bit more focused on the tooling and kind of how you get started, which is definitely going to be rather alien to quite a few people that aren't familiar with maybe developing in Visual Studio. Even some people that have been running Umbraco as just a zip for the longest time. So a few changes, but also there's some other posts as well, I think, that go into more like the kind of syntactic changes, or, you know, these namespaces have changed, that sort of thing. So we'll have that link down below. I think we've linked the others before as well at some point.
Yeah, we've mentioned that definitely in the past. But what I wanted to also highlight is this list of packages which are already ready to be worked on with V9. And if you're looking on this list, of course, we are highlighting them every week, and there is always something new every week. But it's a really nice list to start with, and most of them are like you know, the must-haves or something like listed. Like you can't start or most of us can't start projects without some of these packages, and that's amazing that they are already here for us to make it work.
It's funny as well. All of these are, I think, almost every single one of these is either a beta or a release candidate at this point. So next week, next week's umbraCoffee is just going to be listing off. Here's 50 packages that have gone from release candidate to a general release.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's good to see it, and yeah, Carol, thanks for sharing this amazing set of tips of how to deal with them. And yeah, the next bit on our agenda is FAQ shared by Philip about 9 as well, and yeah, most frequent questions and unknowns or unknowns also being raised by many of us, and I think Philip also did a great job here answering all of the questions possible to come to our heads. Same with the long time support, for example, for other stuff, schedule and timeline for general .NET migrations and new versions as well. And yeah, you should. And the major question: should I upgrade my existing site? With a really lovely answer: if you can, yes. That's what I spotted as well. Yeah, all of
the one thing that's not
comes.
One thing that's not covered in here is where do I have to enter my Montero license key and credit card details?
Yeah, exactly. But this maybe we will leave it for the launch then, for Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
But of course, let's make it clear it's a joke. So yeah, we are not expecting that, and we know that HQ is watching, so don't feel inspired by that. But yeah, exactly. I think all of these resources, of course, we are linking them on every video down below, are helpful to get our hands on with. And even if someone didn't follow or check out what happened in the transition from V8 to V9, even from V7 to V9, it's just a great set of resources to start the journey with. And I know that some of the people are awaiting the final release to just start fresh from then. And yeah, I think we can all prepare by just reading some of these great materials. And I think it's amazing that HQ is also combining them all in the one place for all of us, and like a handbook of useful resources as well.
For sure. I mean, this literally didn't exist from Umbraco 8, did it? It came out of the blue. No one knew exactly when it was going to launch. Bunch of problems. No one really knew where stuff was, how it worked. So it's a huge difference. Huge difference.
Yeah. So yeah, if we are speaking about 8, it's worth also mentioning that there is a new release of V8. So it's release candidate of 8.17.
Release candidate 2. So we had an RC a week ago, and I think this is RC2 now.
Yeah, with some really cool fixes from around of many areas of the CMS, from block editor dependencies, some performance improvements, and a lot of more UI and UX fixes. I don't know if there's a sum of the changes, but we can easily.
I tried to find one for the release candidate and what a change, but I couldn't.
Yeah. But we can all see that there is a lot of changes even between RCs, which is always a good metric, I think, to see. And yeah, so 8.17 is also around the corner, and we can all benefit from it on various perceptions. Examine is a big next release, and Shannon was sharing it across the week. V2 of Examine built on .NET Standard, which is compatible with Lucene.NET 4.8. So
long-awaited,
massive upgrade of Examine engine.
There's a lot of work that's gone into that as well. Like the Lucene.NET 4.8 release, Shannon's worked on too. So it's not just upgrading the existing Examine package. It's all the dependencies that have come with it, and of course it then working and being shipped with Umbraco 9. So it's huge milestone. And if you think about it, how long's Xamarin existed for? 10, 12, maybe more years, and we had a v0.1 for maybe 8 of those years, and we only got an Xamarin v1 with Umbraco 8, and yeah, like it's crazy to think that in the space of a couple of years we've actually got a v2. And also I know, because I've kind of been quite deep in the code base there, but it's matured a lot, and there's a lot of features that maybe you didn't realize it can do. We've even been using it on a project outside of the context of Umbraco, so doing like Lucene.NET indexes, which is pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to it.
And you've mentioned some of the issues spotted across the upgrade periods paths, and I think it's worth to mention that they were all really spotted well and also addressed, and there is always a workaround for that. So glad to see it working, and as you've said, the code is matured as well, so that's easier to contribute to for sure. Using RC again, I didn't measure the time after which Kevin released the RC for RC4. Yeah, but there's of course the new version of using supporting the newest RC for Umbraco, and amazing total download amount of 1.4 million downloads on NuGet of using. So yeah, hopefully we don't need to describe what the package does, but there is a new version for the new RC. You can use it, check it out, and yeah, I believe that.
I was just going to say, whilst we're looking at NuGet, this update's rolled out this week, a new UI, and it's really highlighting where packages haven't filled out certain bits of information, like the README file, which pretty much everyone has just put a description of their package in there. Previously, this was listed as kind of sections rather than tabs, and now it looks really bare and empty. So I'm going to have to go through and have a look at my some of my packages, I think, and update.
But you know, NuGet also learned the lesson and has tabs applied to the stacked content before. So that's I've noticed it recently as well. And yeah, we can all see that it might look empty, but yeah, to be fixed, easy to be fixed, fortunately. Yeah. The next one is again alpha version of Skybred redirects package, alpha 03. Everyone who benefits from managing redirects in Umbraco outside of the standard redirect manager probably and hopefully knows this package, and any others released the new alpha version for v9, and yeah, everyone can check it out. So one of these packages, which is sometimes must have or pre-installed before even project starts, so it's ready, and it's ready for further tests and bug fixing there. The next one is doctype grid editor. Yeah, again, something what I can't live without, to be honest. In the grid-based solutions at least, and it also has 300,000 of downloads. So,
yeah, it's a must-have, isn't it? And there's been so many attempts over the years to try and get that into core. Like we had Grid V2, all these sort of things. I think. Yeah, it's a necessary evil, really, to use doctype grid editor if you're using the grid. But I don't know. I know that I think someone asked Soren when he posted that he'd done this. Oh, when's the block grid editor, like your block type grid editor or something coming out? Said, you know, maybe some point, sometime in a few years, maybe someone will build one. I think it's the way it will go, isn't it? But
that's true.
For now.
But yeah, to be explored. And if you've used the grid and you didn't use doctype grid editor, try this experience, and you probably won't get back if you want to extend this approach. The next, I have a set of releases open from our Umbraco. Some of them we missed in the past weeks. One of them is user reporting dashboard with some highlight of users with the permissions and everything else. Really helpful, in my opinion, for the sites with a big amount of users managing the content, or someone on top of the users to see the overview of the users. So packages for V8. Cool. really cool to be used and explored. It was released last week. There was also a portfolio starter kit, which we will mention later on, as shared by Paul. And Paul combined the portfolio starter kit demo with the unintended installs video on YouTube. But another starter kit ready for V9 explorations, and looks pretty neat and clean. Sebastian released his Hangfire package, and yeah, again, I was sure that it was packaged before, but I must be wrong then. But yeah, here also in the combination with the blog on how to set up Hangfire in V9 for all the background tasks, for all the recurring background tasks as well, and a lovely dashboard of Hangfire application itself, bundled with Umbraco back office. Must have again for someone who writes a lot of tasks like that. And yeah, Sebastian is a big Hangfire ambassador.
He is,
across our community.
Yeah, I mean his blog post every time you Google anything, Umbraco, Hangfire, whatever, like that blog post comes up, and it has for years and years. And of course he's we talked about it last week, didn't we? About refreshing that blog post, and then it does just make so much sense that it would be a nice package that you could install. So good job, Seb.
Yeah, good job. Then he's also upgraded his demo site to be working on the latest RC before the greatest and the last one. So to support RC03. It was. He also said that it was really easy to move from beta to RC, which means that this kind of backwards compatibility and easiness of migrating from the previous is maintained, even if it doesn't need to be maintained, but it's easy to migrate. Last probably but not least on the packages section is a small upgrade from Richard, who's maintaining the big SEO packages, and CMS import in this case is right now working in V9, and it might be released next Tuesday. So in a combination with V9 as well. Great success, great work, Richard, and yeah, again, big set of packages from Richard, and is going to be ready for V9 soon. I'm just checking my list. There's one more, and this it's USkin update. Starter kits, really a lot of starter kits, a lot of site builders, and USkin site builder got a new upgrade as well with some new features like background color options and some ordering in the random order of some pods, which are the blocks in USite understanding, and some new other enhancements with the performance boost and some other great stuff. So whoever is using or planning to use site builders like USkin needs to definitely check the new upgrade, because it has a lot of new features bundled within it. That's probably all from the releases perspective. I'm just checking again my list. Yeah, there's one more section, but this is dedicated to more Umbraco HQ based upgrades, and that's interesting. That's interesting also to see a new package just released by HQ itself.
Yeah, this is obviously they've been talking about this for a few months now. This idea of DXP, so having a suite of tools and plugins you can install to achieve certain things that I guess it's mainly marketing people want integrations in their site. So the two that are released this week is a property editor for commerce tools. I've never heard of commerce tools, but cool.
It's a headless e-commerce solution. Really amazing one.
Fantastic. So this is a property editor that lets you pick products and categories, it seems. And then there's also, which I don't know why this hasn't existed for so long, but a HubSpot Umbraco forms integration. And I'm sure we'll be getting similar, like a Dynamics one as well, because I've had this requirement from clients so many times. We want to feed our form submissions with CRM, and we end up writing some kind of dodgy workflow that maps certain fields over, and it sort of works. But this is great, and they're supported by HQ. And I don't think have a license attached.
There was a blog shared by Andy.
Yeah,
probably this week as well.
It's in the links.
It's in the links. Okay, so it's in the links, but yeah, it was describing how it works and how it was done. Of course, these packages are also open source, and they are easier right now to be used and combined with forms. And as you've said, we were always writing them down and writing the code for this kind of integration or migrating the code from previous package projects, and it's great to see it already done. And maintained again, because we know that sometimes APIs are changing, so it's definitely easier to change it and upgrade it in one place rather than synchronizing projects or custom code bits across the many integrations.
I've had so many dodgy integrations like that in the past, like a Salesforce task that would run in the background and sync on a schedule, and horrible. At least it's Andy's problem now. Like, we don't have to worry about all of that.
But it's on GitHub. We can raise issues. We can raise some feature suggestions, some feature upgrades, and yeah, it's easier definitely to be used right now. And again, big high five for Andy for releasing this one.
It was last week we discussed. I think they've got an open role currently at Umbraco HQ for someone to come and work on just integrations. So yeah. This is obviously the fruit of the first kind of efforts at building some of those integrations. I didn't realize they were going to be released in kind of open source in public. I was wondering whether Umbraco were going to kind of try and package them up and sell them. Maybe they will, but that sounds like quite a cool opportunity for someone that's a package dev, wants to do package dev, and like basically that becomes your full-time job, which is cool. I guess the same with Umbraco Forms and Deploy team.
Yeah, I don't know how about you, but always when something like that pops out as a potential extension of the project, it always inspires me to, okay, right now this is how can we do something like that for this and that, and the same with the property editors. Right now you see commerce tools, but there are always other stores, engines, and other applications like that. And if you see how it can be done, how it can be bundled, how someone else is using it, you can see the opportunities for your integrations. And that's what you said. I'm also surprised that this is already released. It's already open source, but just positively because it can inspire us to implement some other integrations and maybe combine a big set of integration and extension points for Umbraco to be reused across the project.
As a standard, pretty much, whenever we need to build anything bespoke for the CMS and integration and extension upon it, we will do it in a separate project so that like it's at least packaged up in some way. And there's probably 10, 15 libraries that I include in our projects at the moment for various different things. And
but that's where you think about business in general rather than implementations, because you are solving the real problems and not writing code for the same problems every time. And I found one more, and it's also related to the topic which we are discussing right now. This is integration with EnterSpeed Headless Hub. I didn't hear about this
what is that?
Yet.
It doesn't like, what is that product? I don't know.
I don't know yet, but I will find out. It seems like it integrates and helps communicate with the EnterSpeed at all.
Hold on, EnterSpeed. So, yeah. So this I've researched. EnterSpeed.
Let's find out all together.
Is a product of Novacell. So this, I guess, is a solution that they've created.
Okay. EnterSpeed. The easiest way getting started with Umbraco EnterSpeed is running. EnterSpeed source. No, it's just like EnterSpeed HQ. Sounds really looks really.
That's pretty cool then.
Yeah. So EnterSpeed Headless Hub.
Yeah.
Live explorations right now. We are maybe someone is here who knows what it is, what it can do. Tell us. Empowering enterprise with digital agility and high performance. Yeah, so simple, better. Headless Hub and API design tool, enable faster time and value learner digital projects.
We see these kind of packages pop up from time to time where someone's built quite a specific integration or something that does something pretty specific for them, and they've not really considered the broader thing. And it's very easy to overlook them sometimes. And obviously, I'd never heard of EnterSpeed, so we've Googled it, and it turns out it's a lot closer to the Umbraco world than we'd assumed. So That's pretty cool.
But again, I had some ideas of using, for example, site builders even within the Umbraco pages itself, because I know how to extend Umbraco in specific ways. But there are some maybe faster or easier to be used site builders for some of non-technical people, and I think we'll see more of it coming. Same with here, let's say event-driven or API-driven headless implementations, and just extension points or connector points to Umbraco. And again, I found it today worth exploring what it is in general, and seeing if it can help us in the projects, because maybe we didn't realize. Of course, we cannot be up to date with everything what's happening in the whole world, but glad to see this integrations coming to Umbraco as well, because it just proves that someone benefits from integrating it like that, right?
For sure.
Really cool. If anyone knows more about this and more about upcoming integrations like that, tell us, please. We will explore and be more prepared for the next demo, live demo of the product.
I mean, we totally rely on people tipping us off on on good things that we should be covering. So yeah, please tell us.
But that also, that also proves how important is documentation and information about the integration product, right? Because you not always can find out what the specific project or package does, and that's for us, when we are playing with something, that's obvious. But then if you want to share something with someone and it's not clear what it can do, it requires a lot of exploration like that. But maybe that's something to be improved. But that's a good segue to the next topic, documentation. And documentation curators team shared a new update, and it's also tackling the upcoming interesting event and time of the year.
That's literally a week away. Next Friday is the 1st of October, Hacktoberfest.
Oh, damn. That's amazing. That's amazing and exciting at the same time. The year passed by almost. But yeah, Busra shared a great update from the documentation creators team. And we've been mentioning it multiple times, how matured Umbraco became when it comes to documenting things up front and also maintaining this documentation of existing areas. And now when the V9 is around the corner, there is a lot of documentation already prepared and already covering most of the cases required to really kick off the project and start doing some really useful stuff. And this cheat sheet, for example, and sample repo with some starter kits is one of these. And the numbers proves the point, because even since the July, there were some 70 pull requests merged for the documentation itself, and total issues solved is 22, which is a lot of problems being solved in the 2-3 months period.
For sure.
By team itself.
For sure.
So yeah,
and if you look at the V9 docs, you'll see how well they've come along, and that's not just been the team themselves or Umbraco HQ. There's been community contributions there too. So I think we're going to see a huge drive during Hacktoberfest. People, one, trying V9 out for the first time, finding issues in the documentation, and then fixing them, or going and actively looking for things, because there's going to be things. There's going to be whole pages that are missing, and then it will just be a really good way to contribute. So we're going to see a load there.
In our team recently, we've spent complete 2 days on just documenting stuff, and that was exciting, because you then realize how much you miss and how much you don't know, and in this case it's exactly like that. You have a whole month to spot these issues, and if you spot something and you won't fix it or even won't report it, that's obviously not helping for anyone. And that's how we can contribute, but that's exactly for what Hacktoberfest was usually used by the community. So let's do it and motivate ourselves to contribute more.
Yep.
Doc samples are open. We will share the links for sure for that. But the next announcement also was interesting from the Umbraco HQ side, and it's meet the diffs idea with the diversity and inclusions friendly faces across the Umbraco community. And Emma is leading this new initiative and yeah, it was, the whole story was shared about it and what the team is going to do. Callum, you've been also involved probably in the events side, like before, like when you were discussing the challenges next to this problems, of course, visible across the IT industry. It's of course an important topic, and Umbraco is stepping in to really address it, maybe even before it's a problem. So that's really nice.
I think this is largely about championing diversity and inclusion, encouraging, you know, event organizers, everyone in the community, in fact, to be more inclusive, and then also kind of having a beacon that people can follow to say, you know, here's how we should be trying to do things. Here's how we can generally improve our friendliness as a community and encourage other people in. I think it's all just gonna, well, yeah, I think you need that in order to be able to grow, and especially to grow in the way that we want, because we can probably find a lot of similar looking people and grow the community that way. But actually we need to be appealing to student developers coming out of university, for example, or people even not sure if they want to study computer science, but seeing the Umbraco community and seeing that being as an inspiration. So yeah, I think this is a great effort, and of course you can join. So if you feel like you've got something you can give there as well, I think it's Emma, Carol, and Matt Brailsford at the minute, but email Emma and ask to join, because I think,
yeah, I remember a lot of useful discussions started by these three exactly on the previous events, on the previous Code Gardens, and there probably couldn't be better people kicking it off. But everyone can be involved, and that's also interesting that if its initiative is open, everyone can help. So if anyone watching us right now has anything to add or to share to help the team develop in this area, don't hesitate to reach Emma and just help. Generally, events, new meetup just today to be mentioned, and Callum, your team member, kicked off the hybrid meetup in Bournemouth. How to pronounce it? Again, so the next one on the list. The next one.
I'll be honest, Marcin. Joe and Jason, obviously on my team, have set this meetup up, and we were discussing how are you going to try and pronounce the name of this group. So
you're not making my life easier. All of these meetups in all the crazy places around UK. Wessex is okay. Wessex is okay. That's
good job.
Yes.
So yeah, Wessex and the Bournemouth meet. So basically, Wessex, for those that don't know, is like an old, very old, thousands of years ago, a county in the UK, which kind of broadly describes the area that they're looking to host their meetup in. So they're based in Southampton or near Southampton, and they're going to have meetups. The idea is to have meetups in Southampton, Portsmouth, and Bournemouth, kind of along that bit of the coast. They'll be virtual and in person as well, so a hybrid setup, because there's Umbracians there, but it's kind of difficult to get to these places. So they're going to try and kick this off next week with a talk in Bournemouth. There'll be pizza, there'll be drinks, there'll be a talk, I think, by Ollie Story. So yeah, go sign up. Umbraco Wessex meetup, and you'll find.
Is there any? Probably, I believe there's a history motivation of having dragon in the logo there.
That's... Yeah, I'm not. Don't test my history knowledge, but yes, sure.
I got you. Next to my pronunciations challenges here, this is history test. But yeah, that's the new meetup, and it's a hybrid, as you've said. So still opportunity to join remotely from anywhere in the world. So yeah, just check it out. The link will be in the description, and it's on meetup.com in Umbraco meetups groups. Other things to be mentioned today as well. Paul Seal, as we've mentioned, released the video about unintended installs and his new portfolio starter kit. So it's on YouTube. If you prefer the visual and the video format of learning and exploring new stuff, you can see how to explore this feature and how Paul is working with his Umbraco installations in V9. There was also a new article shared by Jesper about indexing data from another node and also keeping it.
It was only last week we were saying. It was only last week we were saying how great the articles that Jesper's pushing out are, and I saw this one. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I've done this in some projects too, but it's great to see it kind of documented. In some ways, I think it should even be in the documentation, because actually this is something that I'm certain people do, injecting values into the index that are saved in a few places. And I was also wondering if there's ways I could bundle this up in my search extensions package and make it kind of pluggable. So yeah, very, very good blog post and inspirational.
But I think Jesper is keeping the bar really high when it comes to quality of the blog post. It's very well described, animations, code examples. Yeah, amazing. Just go explore, copy, paste, and implement on your own.
Sure, 100%.
The next blog is from Corne. And it's also interesting. There was a tease on Twitter back in the days if people are interested in rendering Mustache templates on server side, and there was a lot of interest around that, and here it is. So there's information how it can be done, and yeah, I haven't been working with Mustache templates for a couple of years, to be honest.
I mean, I've done it with front end or handlebars. I've used with front end stuff, so it makes sense. But I kind of like the idea that the razor views in your project should be a front-end developer concern or a front-end concern. And so a front-end dev doesn't have to know razor syntax. They can use the syntax that they're used to and work that way. And then as a back-end developer, if such divides even still exist really, but your job is to make sure they've got a clean model with everything, and the front-end dev consumes that in the way that they're used to, which is kind of nice. I don't know if it fits with our workflow, but there's definitely people's that it would fit with. So
yeah, it must be a use case for that, but still I see a lot of challenges with that as well, like reading files, for example, right? And you know, relying on reading and input output operations on the server itself to render something what can also be accomplished a different way, but there must be a reason behind doing it like that, and he's glad to explore how it was done. And again, a lot of us probably don't know what Mustache is at all, and didn't have any opportunity to work with this templating engines like that. So it's great to also open up to some new stuff, and I really loved also the summary of the articles and sources used here, because you can dive into the topic and just explore it for a longer period of time and see what will work maybe for you and your project, what is always awesome. And yeah, that's all. And last standard segment on our agenda.
We need like a jingle for this segment, because it's every week now, and there's at least two. So someone propose a jingle.
Yeah, so new hires to Umbraco HQ. Team is constantly growing. There is a new front-end developer, Jesper, joining the team, and also a new member to the Suits team, Andras. So 2 new members with 2 new stories on Umbraco blog to be explored. And yeah, probably new show needs to happen like that to introduce people to the community. But yeah, constant curve of a team growing is maintained. So that's great to see, because it always helps. And yeah, that's all what we've prepared for today.
And I saw earlier Philip tweeted, of course, a link to some job postings, I think, on the Umbraco site, and there's like 5 or 6 openings already still for more people to come and join HQ. So they are rapidly growing, rapidly growing.
Yeah, cool. That's great. Yeah. So Wessex meetup next week happening. We will of course share more of the upcoming and great work on the next umbraCoffee episodes. I'm probably because of some website loading in the background, but I'm back. So yeah, as usual, like, subscribe. It means a lot for us, because if you like the content here on YouTube, it's displaying more for people like you. If you subscribe to our channel, you get the information about the new publications as soon as they arrive. And yeah, we likes and we like subscribes. So please help us and help us grow. We are almost 700 subscribers.
I was going to add that we've been floating around that 670 mark for a long time. And sometimes they're rubbish. It's like bots or whoever that's followed us, and sometimes it's not. So we go above it, and then slightly below, and then above again. We've got our 200th episode coming up in 6 weeks. Let's see if we can get those
challenge ourselves somehow. Yeah,
28 subscribers by 200 episodes, 700 subscribers total. So that would be amazing.
So So right now we are talking like YouTubers, and now we rely on you guys. If you think like we should be seen, or the news which we are collecting should be explored by your team members or someone who has a YouTube account, tell them to subscribe. It's free, and it will be free all the time. It will help us to grow generally. So thank you in advance for this kind of boost before 200 episodes, and we will make sure that we'll prepare something cool for all the subscribers on the 200 episodes.
Indeed.
Cool. So have a great rest of the day and the weekend, everyone. Spam us with some new updates for the next week's episodes, and as usual, see each other on the next Friday. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Callum.